All right. Good evening, Philippines, and good morning, America. We have zero viewer as of the moment. All right, and or actually four. And
Oh,
today I have one of our newest teachers here in the U.S. And Teacher Sheena, please introduce yourself.
oh, hi, Teacher Annie. Thank you for having me in your channel. So, yep, I am Teacher Sheena, but the kids at school would call me Miss Torre. Okay, so I have
Story.
been, yeah, I have been here in the U.S. for like barely 6 months, I think, like almost 7 months, and I am employed by the Eagle County School District, and I am teaching. At Eagle Valley High School here in Eagle, or no, Gypsum, Colorado. So, yeah.
All right. So yes, she is also an English teacher and
Hmm.
one of our newest teachers, and she is um, my college friend.
Yes.
So we have three viewers right now, and maybe some of them are still, preparing to join the live. There are actually a lot of teachers already who posted questions, and I asked them to post their names and their questions. And we have five viewers right now, guys. So thank you for coming. And if you want, you can type your name and where you're from so we can shout out. And also, our time is very limited. It's 7 a.m. my time, 8 a.m. my time, and Machina has something to do as well. So maybe you can post your questions so we can answer your questions as well.
Yeah.
It's funny because sometimes there are teachers during school days, they're asking questions, and right away I cannot answer their questions.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing live, and they can't attend because they're busy as well. But then there was actually one question, um, if I have my own agency. someone someone sent me a message on my message from messenger, and then he asked if I have an agency. Guys, I don't have any agency, and Teacher Sheena doesn't have any agency. We are not affiliated to anything, to any agency. But if you're going to ask our agency, both of us are from Bepashay.
Right.
And Sheena, while we're
Mhm.
waiting for our viewers to type their name and post their questions, can you tell us about your experience on how did you end up teaching here in the U.S.? Oh,
Oh, yeah.
mhm.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it was like a roller coaster ride
Mhm.
before coming over here because I applied to like be here in 2019, and we know, like, all of us know what happened in 2019. So at first I was actually given a job offer in Vegas. We're supposed to be together, we're like like near your place, right? But because lockdown happened, and so the job offer was withdrawn, and I couldn't process my visa, because the US embassy actually locked down. And so I was very disappointed that to the extent that I was demotivated and discouraged not to continue applying any longer. And then the agency kept on sending me links and all of those, and I said, like, okay, I have a very great job back home. I was happy with my job. But until such time that the agency like sent an email with the last set of links and said, like, these are the last links that we will be sending over to you. And there I was like, okay, I have to chase my dream still. And so I applied, and I am so glad that the principal of one of the schools here reached out to me. They're the very first ones, actually. And I was fortunate, I was lucky and blessed that the very first interview with them, I was able to get the job offer. So yeah, it was a roller coaster ride with all the things that were happening all around the world. The pandemic that stopped me from processing. It took quite a long time before I got here, but it was a really fun one.
Yeah, so there you go, guys. An example, an epitome of a teacher that does not give up, even though there's a pandemic. She was hired. Yeah, she was hired in Vegas. We were so ready. I offered her that, okay, if you come up here, I'm going to check for your apartment, and then I'm going to check on your school, and then I'm going to pick you up at the airport. We
Mhm.
already have plans, but then because of um unexpected circumstances. But here she is, and she's teaching in Colorado. So maybe Vegas is not for her, but Colorado is also a good place.
Right.
The
It is. It
Colorado,
is.
Colorado. Yeah. And we have one question from Alvin Alipoon from London. No,
No.
we how difficult to be a teacher in USA or much better in the Philippines? This-
Um, I must admit that it is quite challenging to teach in the US because of the different culture, right? The kids here are like, I would say it's really kind of different. It's because somehow some of the kids here are like not the same as those that we have in Asia, particularly that kids were taught to like have much respect. It's not that I say that they're not respectful, but they just wanted more of attention. Kids here just wanted more attention. But what I can say is that even how like the differences, or even those kids are a little rowdy sometimes, but if you just show to them that you are very compassionate, right, and you are sincere to like how you deal with them, everything will just be fine. The kids would really appreciate you if just you show to them like how much you care for them, they that you are listening to them, and they feel that they're valued. It actually gives a lot of difference. And I think everywhere we go, right? As teachers, we can just show the same thing. We have the compassion, we have the care, and the kids would eventually just feel that we are there for them, and we are after for what's better and good for them. So yeah.
That's
It's a
correct.
really good question, Alvin. Thank you.
That sometimes actually we all we just need to do is to set aside our lesson plan and be like their second parents. And I agree to that, that most of the students here, what they need is your focus and attention, because not all of them will get that at home. Most of
Exactly.
their parents are busy, and they don't have enough time really to talk and to share to them what's going on. But if they will see your that but if they're going to or if they will see their teacher that is helping them to be successful in their classroom or in their subject, you will get their trust. And then they may be disruptive, they may, because of course they're kids are kids. And then if you get your trust, here comes classroom management. So if you're good with classroom management, then for sure you will be successful in teaching here. First year of teaching may be tough, may be difficult, but you will get over it.
Exactly.
I'm on my fourth year. I survived.
Exactly. And I think one thing that we as teachers as well need to consider is that kids here would really appreciate if we like give them the time to like to listen to them, right? Listen
Yes,
to them. That's
that's
really
right.
important. It's not just, and in my case, I am more into engagement because I always share this to other educators. I would always say that as a teacher, the principle I live by is from the proverb, like a Chinese proverb that I read somewhere, which says, oh no, tell me and I will forget. Show
Hmm.
me and I might remember, but involve me with in like including or incorporating the fun activities, and they will surely learn, or I will surely learn. So that's the thing. It's like making them involved, making them the center of your discussion. And even if there's just like a lot of lessons that you are pouring into their brains, but if it's like a memorable one, and they will never forget that, and they will love you because they're having fun at the same time learning, right? So yeah.
That's right. Sometimes it's difficult though, but then psychology, what do you call that? Reverse psychology really applies
Hmm.
to most of the teacher. I mean, the students here, for example, um, if it's your first year of teaching here, sometimes you will hear, "I don't like you. I don't want to be in class." For sure, you will be offended as a teacher. You don't expect that to hear from your student, even though it hurts. But you know what you can say, "Oh, I understand that, even though you don't like me or if you don't want to be in my class, but I still care, I still want you to be in my class." Though of course at the back of your head, like, okay, if you don't, you can't tell to your kid,
Right?
your student, okay, if you don't like my class, I don't like you too. But no, they need someone to tell them that even though I don't like you, or you don't, they don't like you like them. That's
Yep. And
what.
yeah, sorry. Yeah. And I think overall, and to answer Alvin's question, is like being or teaching here in the US is more challenging than in
It
the
is.
Philippines. However, it is very fulfilling.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
very
I
fulfilling.
remember on my first year, because I'm teaching seventh grade middle school, so they're like elementary. They're confused. How are they going to act, if they're going to act like an elementary student, or if they're going to act as a high school student, because they're seventh grade. So, um, in the classroom setting, like I said, they might be disruptive, they may be rowdy and everything for them to get your attention. But at the end of the day, they will say, "Bye, Miss Gravis, have a good day." And it's as
Yeah.
if like there's nothing wrong. There, as if there's nothing happened in the classroom after you did this, and you're telling me have a good day. Of course, I had a good day, right?
Right, right. Agreed,
Okay,
agreed, agreed.
yeah.
Totally,
And
totally.
we have one viewer from the Philippines. Good evening, watching here from the Philippines. And
Hi.
I think a follow up question from Sir Alvin. Are you pressured with the outcome of your teaching styles in the US, or you are using a different approach?
Oh, when I got here in the US and we had the training, there's just like a lot of terms that I didn't know, which are like different from what we had. And they really have like a lot of those strategies, a lot of those teaching styles. We do have what we call the avid and all of those things. So what are those words? I mean, like,
Mhm.
so it took time for me to learn all of those. Yes, they've got like a lot of different programs and different aids to help us to have like different teaching styles, right? Kind of, I would say, to start with, because you have to adopt to like the kind of ways that they do it. Yeah, a little pressured, I must be honest. I had like a few anxiety attacks when I came here. I know, and you experience it yourself. However, here's the thing: we are in an exchange culture program, which means that it's not that we're just only be using the styles that we have here, and they're expecting us to share the best practices that we have back home. That's the main thing here, because it's a culture exchange. And
Mhm.
so we are expected to just share what we have there, or that we feel and we that we're tested to be really effective in delivering the results to the school where we are at. So it's there's nothing that you need to, there's no limit, right? It's, for example, I teach 6 classes, 3 levels. Imagine, right? In here it's like only 1 level or
We
two.
have three preparations.
3 preparations, and right, 3 preparations. And I have to like plan the same with every level, right? Like, say I have juniors, it's the same plan. I have sophomores, it's the same plan. But it doesn't work for like both. So you really have to be flexible. You really have to be creative on like, hey, in this class of mine, this is the best thing that I can use, and this is the other stuff for the other class. So it changes every now and then, and it really depends on like how you assess the kind of kids in the class, and you apply whatever best teaching style. So it may be whatever they have here in the US, or the one that you deem very effective that you were using back home in the Philippines.
Yeah, teaching styles, sky is the limit, because what
Right.
works for my classroom may not work for your classroom, and what works for my students may not work for your classroom. So it depends, and also, well, yeah, we have different teaching styles, and like I said, sky is the limit. But then still, the core of it is like the eight, what you call that? We have those eight instinct or knowledges, like if the students are good in reading, listening, or they're good in math,
Visual. Right.
kinetics, stuff like that. So those are still like you will think of what is going to be my lesson plan, what is going to be my lesson for today, because you are going to follow your curriculum, you're going to follow the standard based on the state testing, but still you have to apply those things that will cater the needs of your students.
Right, right. And in here, I must give a heads up to set expectations with all of those who are interested to teach here that in the Philippines, if we want a kid to read something, recite, or participate, you have the power. It seems like you have the power to tell them, like, hey, kid, like this, can you please read this one and try to explain it in your own words? That's what we usually do, right? But in here, if the kids don't want to do it, you cannot push
No,
them.
you
No.
cannot. You cannot even ask them to stand up and read and say their
Mhm.
answer. They're going to speak up, but they prefer to just to sit down. You cannot force
Right, right. And there's even a time that they don't wanna read and they don't want to participate, which is why that's what he's that's this is correct, and that he said it depends of like your style depending on the kind of learners they are, like visionary or the ones who are just prefer. There are just a lot of kids who are good at talking, which I
Yes.
always push them to really be good at, because public speaking is really important in the real life, right?
Mhm.
Out there. But that's the one that I have been pushing most of my kids to do. And he said it's a challenge for them. But there are just kids who would say, no, Miss Tori, I'd rather have my answer written. So we have this thing in our class, like everything is an argument. An argument is spoken. But I would need to be more creative in like telling them, okay, for those who are not comfortable doing it in spoken way, in verbal way, here's the activity for you in a written one. So you really have to be very resourceful and very creative on how to balance and cater to what the kind of learner you have in a classroom.
Exactly. And teachers from the Philippines, from London, from wherever you are, um, the whole day, like the classroom setting here, maybe for in my case, it's barely that you will see me sitting down on my desk, because most of the time you're roaming around. Because if you will, I mean, if your students will see you sitting down, they may think that, oh, today my teacher is just lax. She's just relaxed. Okay, maybe I'm not going to do my work today, because maybe you're sitting down there and you think your students are doing something, but then actually they're just doodling or they're just doing something else. But if you go around, it's proximity. That's what they call the proximity. Of course, if your students see you coming and that, oh, they're going to pretend to write or whatever that they wanted not to be called. So be mindful of what they're doing. Be mindful every situation in your classroom, because they don't they don't always think about the benefits of the teacher, but what they're thinking is what will benefit them in the classroom. And like we said, they need tension. So if they're doing something else and you're going to get their attention, so they win. And
Right.
do not ever engage to any argument with your student, because the moment you argue with your student, you let them win already. Why you let
Exactly.
them win? Because you stop from your teaching, you stop from whatever you're doing in the classroom, and then at the same time, because you had an argument with this student, you made like a scene in the classroom that
Mhm.
some other students will trigger that, oh, hey, Miss Cuevas can do this, or we're not going to have our lesson if we have an argument with this teacher. So maybe we'll just have an argument with her every day, so that we're not going to write or we're not going to read. So you are supposed to dealing with that particular student already,
Mhm.
but then since you end up arguing with that student, so the whole class did not do anything, you're not productive, and you did not get the trust of the student. So if there is a disruptive student and you think she's trying to push your button and argue with you, stop the conversation and just refer her to the office, or call the office for assistance and send them to the referral or guidance counselor if you have one.
Mhm. And in relation to that, and you're right, like the first one is like you have to pace all the time, especially you're giving them an activity.
Mhm.
Pace, right? You're right. They're using their Chromebooks. Here in the US, they have their individual Chromebooks, and we do not know what they're doing. All right. So we give them an activity, but they could be playing something, right? So pace. And then you have yeah, you have to make sure that okay, before the end of the period, 5 minutes before the end of the period, I want you to do like a return and report of like where you were at, what you're doing. So making sure that they are accountable, right?
Yeah.
Like I am giving you this activity until the end of the period, but some of them would just say, "Oh no, I'll just do it at home." You know what?
Yeah.
You know that, right? They prefer to do things at home. And I would say, I would always emphasize to them, hey, kids, guys, I don't want to take your time at home. You could use it to like play video games. You could use it to spend with your family. I want it done in the classroom, which is why I said it. The due time is at this hour, or
Yes.
else you won't be able to turn it in. So that's one thing that I would want like all of the viewers right now to understand, that let them practice like get things done if the time given is enough, right? And make sure
Accountability.
that they are accountable, that hey, before the end of the period, raise the hands of those who are done, let me check. And then you always have to make sure that, but I can see only these people turned in the activity, so you can see that on your end, right? So
Yeah. Well,
right.
in my district, when we had the online teaching during the pandemic, we have this Go Guardian app in our
Oh
web.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we can see if they're online as long as they're using the Google Chrome, so we can
Mhm.
see the activities that what they're doing. So, I mean, the first time we used it, the kid was like, so they're doing their activity and they open their YouTube. And then for some reason, they don't know that I can see everything, the interface on their screen, and I turn off YouTube or I close it on my end. I'm like, what just happened? Who closed the YouTube? And they don't know what's going on until right now. They know that there's Go Guardian. So if they see something Go Guardian, so they're not going to do anything because they know
Right,
for sure that I can record and I can make a screenshot and send it to their parents. And right away, I mean, they don't want to be in. They do not want to get in trouble because calling home, calling their parents, sending emails at home. That's very helpful. You need to get the trust of their parents as well.
yeah. But one thing, and I know, is there a question already? But I think one thing that also would want to add, like you were saying earlier, that we can tell the parents and we can email them or get with the admin for the disciplinary action. Yeah, we can do all of those, but we have to bear in mind that it's not actually, it's just the last resort, right?
Yeah.
I must say, actually, Anne, that I have never done that so far in my first like 2 semesters here. And that's because I always have it, bear in mind that I need to control, like what is happening in my class. And eventually, if you do that, well, what I usually do is, like, if the kid is really rowdy, like interrupting the class or distracting the class, I love one-on-ones. I would always do that during, we have this block day, right? Block day is like an hour and a half, and like the last 30 minutes of that, I would just get with them of like what they're struggling on. I'll do one-on-one, or if it's real time but they're just distracting the class, I would pull them out and I would say, hey, can I talk to you? And then a lot of the kids, of course, it's normal, would say like, oh, you're in trouble now, you're in trouble now. But when they get back to the classroom, both of us, both of the kid and I, are like wearing a smile, which means there's nothing wrong, right? So I
Mhm.
love doing one-on-ones, but I just try not to, like, what do you call that, endorse them to the admin or let their parents know, because there's just one class that I last semester was like, they're the rowdiest among all. But
You
I told
always
them,
have that
some,
in one
yeah.
school year.
Yeah,
Throughout.
some of the kids would say, Miss Tori, you have to report them to the principal, take them to the principal. I said, I don't have to do that, I can handle this. And then at the end of the school year, they or semester, they were really appreciative and saying that, thank you, Miss Tori, that you did not give up on us. So
Yeah,
that's just it,
they're
right?
very sweet. They're very sweet as long as you will get their trust. And discipline, you should have a structured discipline in your classroom. Like, what should you do first before you refer them to the principal or before you send them you send an email to their parents? So
Right.
first, if they're trying to disrupt the class first, let them, okay, can you please stop? Like, I always say please to them. Kids here, they do not know how to say please. They do not, most of them do not know how to say thank you. So I always say, please, can you stop doing that because you're disrupting the class. The second time that he is still doing that, so change of seat plan. Okay, maybe you're going to sit here and then move, switch, something like that. And then the third time, if she's still rowdy or if they're still disrupting the class, then that's the time that I'm going to call their attention. Okay, let's talk at the back. And then still, if they're not, I mean, I'm dealing with seventh graders. Miss Story is dealing with high school students. High school students are kind of mellow compared to middle school, and so I need to email their parents so that the parents, just tell them, hey, you know what, this is what happened, but at the end of the day, she was accountable and she said she's not going to do it again. So and the moment you tell your student, oh, you know what, I'm going to email your parents, make sure you really email your
Do
parents
it.
or email the
Do
parents
it.
or call, yes. Because the moment that you forgot to email or just call the parents, they will say, oh, you told me that you're going to email my mom, but you did not. So I'm going to do
Mm-hmm.
it again. So it's like
Right.
you, as a teacher, you don't have an accountability as well. So make sure whatever you tell the kid, you're going to do that. If you say, I'm going to call the office right away, call the office. Do not wait for her
Mm-hmm.
to do anything else. Call the office if you really want to call the office. So something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Discipline,
Totally.
discipline, classroom management, that's the most important thing. Because if you know how to handle your class, if you know how to hold your student, then here comes your continuous lesson and no disruption. And you can move on to your next lesson. All right. So, Flor de
Yeah.
Lester, Navidad, good evening from Cebu. And from Miss Yolin, thank you so much. Oh, here. Thank you so much for the magic word. Whatever those magic words, Miss Yolin, thank you
Right.
so
I
much
was like
from,
looking at it, like, what was the magic word?
yeah. And we have from Bacolod City and Joanna and Jefflin. Good evening, watching from Philippines, hoping to be there soon. Yes, Jefflin is
Oh.
my schoolmate in La Carlota City College. Yeah, so I have two schools. Whereas I have West Negros. So, like I said, Miss Sheena is my schoolmate. We were together in school paper. That's why I know her.
Mhm.
Yeah, and yeah, remember those college days?
Yeah.
And then Dyrel, good evening, teachers watching here from Iloilo City. So
Hi.
we have from Bacolod, we have from Iloilo City, from Cebu, and watching and learning from Laguna. Yeah, I hope guys you learned something from us. And from Sir Pete, pak na pak po ang mga accent niyo, ma'am.
Oh,
Well,
thank you.
we're I can say I'm also one we're the products of West Negros University. And I graduated at La Carlota City College. Paul, my good friend as well. Good evening.
Mhm.
Watching from Philippines. And there's another question from Sir Alvin again. Was there a time you shared your experiences as a student in the Philippines to them so that they can compare it since you are an exchange culture?
Oh, we get a lot of those
Mhm,
kind of moments, right?
mhm,
My one thing that it would always ask me, it's actually not me most of the time initiating to share it with them, but there are most of the time they're the ones who are very interested, and they would ask like, "Hey, Miss Tori, what are the kids like in the Philippines? Are they like us?" so,
mhm.
so those are like the questions they have. Yes, since it's an exchange culture, and it would also initiate sometimes that back home, this is how the kids do it. And most of the time, may it be most of the kids in our school, it's like almost 60% are Hispanic, and just 45% are like the ones who
Locals.
here. So they would always ask like, how are the kids like there? And I would say, they're more, they fear somehow authority. And I said like, what really? So they would say like, it's a lot of adjustment for you, Miss Tori, if that's the case. And I said yes, but it's okay. And and I think it's part of a requirement as well as exchange culture teacher, that there would be a time that the kids back home and the kids here would exchange experiences, right? So that they would have like a firsthand um, experience of like how it is being done in the Philippines, how they're being taught. So yeah, there are experiences that um, that they are actually like wanting to know about it, and we share it to them. But I think because I'm new here, I have not done it, but it's one of the requirements that we would need to comply with, is to have somebody from the Philippines to exchange like any activities in here. I don't know, Anne, have you done that? Can
Yeah.
you share?
Well, yes, as a cultural exchange program, part of your annual requirement, you need to turn into your visa sponsor a report
Mm-hmm.
that you did. You need to have a compilation of your one student or any students in the Philippines, and then student here in the US. So what I'm doing usually is of course, I'm an English teacher, so I can ask my student, okay, everybody, we're going to write a letter from my student in the Philippines. And then, oh, who are we going to send letter? What's their name? Just maybe for someone. And then, dear someone. Yeah, so it's one of your requirements that you are going to turn in, like an exchange letter from one of your students here in the US and one of the students in the Philippines. That's every year. So if you will be here for 5 years, you need to have that. So every year I have different students who will send letter, my students before in the Philippines. And also, you can what you can do is, since it's still part of your requirement that you need to share your culture in the Philippines, so you can make a PowerPoint presentation of how Philippines look like, and for sure they will really be surprised if you're going to tell them that we have like 7,300 islands,
Right.
and they don't know that. And so you're going to show the Philippine flag, and while you're doing that, you are taking videos or pictures of yourself because you need to turn that into your visa sponsor. And then most of the time I'm sharing to my students so that hey, you know what, in the Philippines we don't have school bus, we don't have free lunch, we don't have free snacks, we don't have those opportunity. And they are very, very interested to learn what's going on in the Philippines. They are really interested. Oh, really? And they don't go, or they don't have they don't have a school bus, so what are they doing? I said, most of them are walking. Even myself, when I was in elementary, I'm walking going to school, and they will not believe me because, of course, here walking, I mean, barely. Most of them, they have school bus. I mean, all of them, and they need to be in the bus if because their parents are working. So most of them, and also one of the reasons that somehow sometimes your students may be grumpy or stubborn because they are awake at 5 o'clock in the morning already. They don't want to miss the bus because the bus will not wait for them. So if they are not in the bus stop, the driver will not care. Okay, you missed your bus and you missed it. Supposedly you should be here at 6 o'clock. You're not here. We're going. We're not. The bus driver will not do that. So they need to know their schedule. So yes, you need to share your experiences. You need to share what Philippines look like because of course you're an exchange teacher. They need to know that. And also about to answer this question as well. Um, the teachers here in the US, if they know you're from the Philippines, because the Filipino teachers already made a mark that, you know, we're Filipinos. We can handle everything. They thought that we know everything as well. Oh yeah, she's from the Philippines. She knows how to do this. She knows how to do that because you're not asking. So there's nothing wrong if you're going to ask for help. And if you, for example, there's new program that you're using in the school. If you don't know how to use it, don't pretend that you know how to do that.
Right.
Because if you don't ask questions, they will assume that you know it. Right. So
Exactly.
if you are not going, oh, how to do this? I don't know how to do this. And maybe in a better way, you are going to approach your instructional coach, because if you will just be silent there and do it, I mean, maybe you can explore it in your own classroom, but then the better if you are also asking help from them. There's nothing wrong in asking help. Yeah, I mean, they are very willing to help as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Anne, if I may add, those who are aspiring to teach here, and I always, and I think it's important to everybody, but if you want to be working here, and yeah, in relation to what you were saying, is that you always have to have the initiative,
Mhm.
right? Right.
Yeah.
Have the initiative, be proactive, okay? Be proactive in like, or in have the initiative, like, yeah, asking. When I got here, it, I think the semester has already started. I got here September. The
Yeah.
classes started August, and like I had nobody to ask. I had nobody to mentor me, though there was somebody who was assigned to me, but she was also having her classes, and so our planning time were not the same period. And it was just like, what am I gonna do? How do I make myself be familiar with the processes? So it takes initiative. What I did is like, I had to plan the whole day of like how I would be able to maximize my time to learn how the things are being done here. So it takes a lot of initiative. Initiative is one of my favorite words, and I think it's really really helpful when you go to a new place,
Yeah,
learning new things, new educational system, new people to work with. Really have a lot of initiative within yourself before you come here. It's one of the things that you have to pack in your luggage. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, because only tough people will survive abroad or teaching here in the US.
I
And
feel yeah. I feel yeah.
you don't have your family here. You don't have most of your friends. It's only yourself. Survival of the fittest, like they said. So good
Right,
job for all the teachers that survive here in the US, and all the viewers soon they will be here next year or next school year. Yeah,
uh-huh.
and we have a viewer from Thailand. It's Jade, Sir Jade. Thank you so much. And from Cagayan de Oro City. So thank you so much as well.
Hello.
And we also have a viewer from Singapore, Miss Macadam. She's one of my followers, and she's always watching YouTube. And Sir Alfie, watching here from Batangas for now.
For
Yeah.
now.
He's staying he was in California before, but he needs
Mm.
to do something and he needs to go back in order for him to process his J1 visa, because he I believe he's here in California for a tourist visa, so he needs to go back and do something. All right, from Sir Lorenzo, does Colorado School Districts accept out of state teaching reciprocity? Any H1B sponsorship opportunity?
Oh yeah, H1 H1B visa. I don't think that they have that for now. What I know is just only J1 visa, but there's just like a lot of other school districts who offer like that offer that. But when it comes to sponsorship opportunity, like the visa sponsor itself, yes, the school district, they have like allotted number of visa sponsorship in a school year, and if you are lucky enough to be included in that, they just have limited. And one of my friends was able to actually avail of that benefit, so she did not pay for anything for the visa sponsor because the school district provided for her. But for
Oh,
now
that's
the H1B, I don't think so. Yeah.
yeah. Well, there are limited, or there are only few schools who are offering H1B, because H1B guys, those district that will offer that, they are paying for it. But
Right.
then of course for the J1 visa, those districts who are accepting J1 visas, they're not paying for it. It's free. I mean, not really free, but they need to do some paperwork as compared to H1B, and they have certain requirements that they need to follow or they need to comply in order for them to do or to offer H1B.
I
And
think, and sorry if I may, if I may interrupt. I myself is not really familiar of the difference, right? I am so familiar with the J1 visa, but for the benefit of everybody, is it okay? Sorry, so like I'm interviewing you. Can is it okay if like you can explain the difference between the H1B and then the J1 visa for like everybody's knowledge?
well,
Right.
H1B, that's the working visa, and then you don't have the 2 year rule that you are going to, like J1 visa, we are required to, or we have 2 year rule. We're going to go home for after 5 years. Well, J1 visa normally, our visa is only for 3 years, and
3
it can be
years.
extended for
Mhm.
2 years. But of course, during your visa interview, you're not going to say that you will be extended for another 2 years after your 3 years, because the Philippine embassy or the US embassy might cancel or might disapprove the
Nice.
application. Yes. So do not say that. So just say 3 years. And then they'll ask, what will you do after 3 years? I'll go home in the Philippines. But of course, you know already that for sure, if you are performing well in your district, you will be
Ended.
extended for 2 more years. And it's the state, aside from your school, that will extend you. It will be also the state who will have the final say if they're going to extend you for 2 more years. And however, for the H1B, that's the working visa. You are not doing the 3 year and then after that 2 years, 2 year that extension. But no, you will be teaching here forever in the US. Good luck teaching here forever in the US. Yeah, but of course, after H1B, that's next step for that is your green card and citizenship. So it's up to you if you still want to be a teacher or, you can do something else. But then if you're a teacher, then yeah, you can always teach. And we have also a viewer from Bahrain, from Sir
Hello.
Ian. Hello. Hello, viewers from Bahrain. And I have here one question. There was a question from Sir Mark. I would like to ask if pwede ba mag-qualify yung hindi education ang degree pero kumuha na ng units at natapos na din professional education and 9 years experience of teaching na din. Ma-qualify ba to apply sa US? I may say still you need to be an education graduate because it's alignment and you need to be a
Mhm.
lead passer in order for you to teach here in the US because you need that in taking your or getting your teaching certificate. And
Right. It's a
even myself,
requirement.
yeah, even myself, I'm an education graduate. I have my master's and everything, but then during my time when we apply for the teaching certificate, I had a deficiency. I need to take, I mean, it's a requirement from Arizona that we need to get the US Constitution and US and Arizona
Oh.
Constitution. Yeah, you have the option to go study about it, but you're going to make like a book, a thesis, something like that. Or if you want to get a test right away. So what we did, I enrolled myself for both AZ Constitution and Yes Constitution because that deficiency is really on my teaching certificate. Though the expiration is at, I think my expiration of the teaching certificate is 2031. But then, yeah, it's on my teaching certificate about AZ Constitution. But it was removed when I already turned in those requirements.
Oh, I am. It could be like a state to state thing, right? Because
Yeah,
here in Colorado, I did not do
yeah,
that. Like,
it's a state
right.
requirement.
Yeah.
So US and AZ, the Arizona Constitution, and my
Right.
most of the teachers during my time, my batch as well from New Mexico, they don't do that. But then after that, 2 years after or 1 year after, they don't do that anymore. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, we paid extra for the AC Constitution and yes Constitution. So, but then it's all right because it will reflect
Mhm.
on your transcript of records that you did the U.S. Constitution and the AZ Constitution, and there are as SEI. I'm not sure in Colorado if you have that for the ELL learners. That in
Mhm.
order for you to teach the non-English speakers, I was able to do that as well. The SEI, I have to pay extra for
I
that.
think eventually, I think there's just a training for that eventually. Yeah, but for now, I think for me, it's too early for me to have those. But I think the program is along the line. So yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
encountered a lot of what you call this experiments already, and my for this
Good.
year, this is actually my first year that we have co-teaching. So my regular class, I have the SPED students as well for my first hour and second hour. So like half of my first hour, I have the SPED department head with me every day,
Mhm.
first hour and second hour. So like there's someone observing my class, but it's okay, 30 students and then half of
Oh
it, or
yeah,
actually more than half,
I
yeah,
had that.
more than half it's the SPED students. So you have to exert effort because they are qualified to be a SPED student. So you need to triple the effort compared to your regular student. Yeah.
Right, right, correct.
We
And
have
I think, sorry, Anne, if I may add, answering to the question, if you really have to like finish the degree, right, and have a license, yes. Here's the thing, based on my own experience, I have been working for 16 or 15 years in the Philippines. I worked for a private academic institution and private companies, and so I did not feel the need of processing my license. And so I took the licensure examination for teachers after I graduated, and fortunately I was able to pass. But I tried to process it the same year I passed the examination. How unfortunately I couldn't get it because I processed it during Christmas time. So and I was so like lazy to get the to process the license. So it took me 14 years to get my license. So not until it's because it's needed. It's needed here. So
Yes,
it's
that's
really a
right.
requirement for you to have your license. And if you process the state certificate or state license, the license in the Philippines is a requirement. So
Yeah. But I believe I also answered this question before that they are not an education graduate. Their bachelor's, not education, and then they took professional ed, like the
mhm.
18 units, and then after that they teach already because they're qualified, they're teachers, they're lab passers, so yes, they can teach here. But then there might, I mean, there's one teacher that I knew that she was able to do that. She's a nurse, and
Mhm.
then she took professional ed 18 units. She's an English teacher. She did not finish her master's degree. So what happened? She when the district found out that she is not really an education graduate and she did not pass her master's degree, she was asked to enroll some, I mean, every every semester or every school year she needs to enroll like three subjects. So that's, of course, education here in the US is expensive and you're going to pay in dollar. So in order for her to continue teaching here, so she needs to comply. And she's still here and she was able to do it. But then I have a friend as well. She's not, I think she's a computer graduate, something in computer. She took also 18 units prof ed, but she finished her master's degree, as as a math teacher, and she doesn't have to do that. So for sure, if you're not an education graduate, you have prof ed, but you finish your master's, then you can go and the like my friend that she was not able to do anything else, and she got teaching certificate as well. What is your teaching certificate standard, or you have to do it annually? You need to renew it, or what, in Colorado?
It's annually renewed. Yeah, it's just
Okay.
good for a year. Yeah,
All
because
right.
you are going to be evaluated based on like what are the credits that you have earned for the entire year. So
Okay.
we do it every year.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay, so question from Bahrain. I had an interview with the principal and with the coordinator. How would I know if I passed the interview? I mean, is it necessary to have a second interview, or first interview is okay? They told me they will give to the HR and the, hold on, I can, they told me they will give to the HR and they will process it. That was the last word. You
Okay.
had three schools, so I mean two schools, right? So what were
Uh-huh.
the process?
Oh, so
What were
sorry
the
about the
processes?
dog in my background. The process is they would be straightforward to you if you pass or not. They would always like send you the result. It could take a few days. I don't want to assume because when they say HR, it means that you made it, right? I don't know, and if that's how it happened to you, but then they say that HR and they will process it. They're endorsing you to HR because they have to start preparing the documents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but just wait for them to, like, the HR would tell you if you get hired or not. So I that's what happened to me. Two of the schools or two of the principals who interviewed me right there and there, they was just so straightforward in telling me that you met the qualifications, you are very excited for you to be a part of our team. And then it's the same thing. They said that we will get with the HR to have things processed. So I'm like taking it in a positive side or in a positive way. But just to make sure, you wait for whatever HR would say, or you can actually follow up if you want to, if it's like already a few days after you were interviewed, just to make sure. But make sure that you're subtle, right? Not just like very like push, like you're pushing something there, but you just wanted to know in a very professional way, like how did you do in the interview, just to get confirmation of if you were able to make it or not. But with this statement that they're going to get with HR, I would say you might have got it, but again,
Mm-hmm.
let's wait for them to confirm it. So
Yeah. In my case, during my interview, I was told by my principal right away that I got hired. to the school where I am
The
teaching
same.
right now. But before I was hired, I had like three interviews, maybe from New Mexico, and then I was here already. And then the principal who interviewed me from New Mexico emailed me, "Hey, we want you to be in our school. We're going to send the contract and everything." But he interviewed me like a month ago. And then he just told me that you are going to hire me. I'm already here in the US in Arizona. So that's also like maybe because he said he forgot about my application, he overlooked my application. So there's nothing wrong in making a follow up as well, but don't make
Hmm.
it like every day. Maybe
Right.
okay, this Friday I'm going to email them because um they're busy as well, especially the people from HR and your principal, especially during the time of March, April, May. They're all busy because they're all preparing for the state testing. So they might be very busy with that. And also, the principals doing final evaluation or the last evaluation for their teachers. So they might, they are just juggling their time as well. And
Yeah.
also, there are schools really that they are doing second interview. The first interview, there are schools that they will have the initial interview, like getting to know you, and then after that, they will ask you to do a virtual lesson. I'm
Mhm.
lucky I don't have that. I
Same
don't
here.
experience.
Same here.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult if you're going to do the lesson virtual because, of course, you don't know how to do it, and I mean it's just difficult for me maybe. And then the third, if you pass that, then you will have your final interview. And then I have a friend that she was able to do that first interview. She did her lesson, and final interview she still did not make it. So I mean, there's always a reason. Why is it you think you will not make it? So good luck. Good luck
Yeah.
to your interview, and hopefully you will have a positive response from the principal and from the HR.
Yeah, and I think, and I would want to add, it varies. Like, it depends on who interviews you. It depends on the principal, because in my case, at first, it was the middle school principal who reached out to me via email that he scheduled for me to be interviewed. But I was surprised when I hop or jump into like the call, and there's like two of them
Mm-hmm.
interviewing me, two principals, one from the middle school and the other one from high school. And then I was thinking all the while that I would be hired by the middle school, but the it was the principal of high school who emailed me saying that we want you in our team, we want you in here, and so I will be talking to you again. That's the second time. And then after that, he like told me of like what are the things that he would be expecting from me and all of this and all of that. But we actually did another interview, not interview, but it could be like a chat, and it was with the department head, the English language art department head, just for her to get to know me. And but I think the very first interview with them, I already felt it that I made it. And so there's just like different like ways and processes for them to hire you. With my interview with the principal in Vegas, Nevada, it was just one time and boom, done. So it really
Yeah.
depends. It really depends. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Different schools in different districts, they have different ways or requirements to meet their needs. There
Right.
are schools that after your first interview, especially that, they do not really have enough time to keep on scheduling interviews. So right away, they're going to decide if they're going to hire you or what. Yeah. So it's up to you. And so I have a question, or we have a question from Miss Susie. Is praxis exam a requirement in Colorado?
I have never taken that exam, which means it's not. But there are like some of my friends. I think there's one who's a SPED teacher. I'm not really quite sure what exam she got, but I think it is. It is. I can't just recall because she's a SPED teacher, and maybe because of the years of experience, she was required to
Mm-hmm.
take an exam. I believe it is the same thing, but I just totally forgot. Sorry about it. But she needed to take the that particular exam for her to get the certificate or the state license. So,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, it really depends on your credential and years of experience. So my documents, my what do you call it, my transcript of records, and all of those were evaluated, and I didn't have to take anything. no exam. But my other friend, who also teaches here, had to take. Again, I'm not really quite sure if it was praxis exam, but yeah.
Yeah, because there are, for example, here in Arizona, we don't have to get praxis examination. But then, just for example, if you just want to take the exam in preparation, if you are planning to move on to a different state, so you can always use this praxis test. That can be added to your credential as well. So it's up to you if you want to take that. But since Sheena doesn't did not take the exam, then you can also go to Colorado, teach there without getting your praxis exam. Yeah, so there are actually states that they are really requiring it. For example, if you get to, I mean, if you was able to get the job order in Vegas, they need to get the praxis exam.
Mhm.
And watching from QC, which state are you teaching right now? Machina is teaching in Colorado. I'm teaching in Arizona. And by the way, Machina is our Miss West Negres.
Oh my gosh, man, don't say
I
that.
forgot. And is summa cum laude or magna cum laude? I forgot.
And
You,
enough. Okay. No, no, no.
yeah. All right. So, from Prince, you might have ideas about what STAR program is. Can you please tell me more about it? Are you familiar with this?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So STAR program is the reading, right? So I believe I had a struggle with that because it's my first time. But yeah, add anything that you have in mind and if I missed any. So I think there's a schedule. You have to set a schedule to all of the freshmen or eighth graders. They have to take that. They are required to take it because it's being monitored by, I think it's the government, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, they have to take that test. It's in the system. You don't have to prepare anything. You'll just have to create something like a case, a program, right? A program
Mhm.
in the system, and then assign it to the kid so the kid can take. It's like a comprehension reading and comprehension test that we have in the Philippines. It could be just manually. In here it's all
Yeah.
digital, right? So it's like a reading comprehension test that the kids are getting. So all freshmen are required to do that to assess where their level of reading and comprehensions are at. So that's done the first few weeks, start of the school year, first semester, and then you do it as well towards the end of the first semester of the school year, or it could also be the second semester, to see if they're improving on their reading level and comprehension. That's for freshmen. For the sophomores, I would also say sophomores and juniors, I would say it's only selected students who the system deem that there's a need for them to continue improving in their reading and comprehension. So, and I would say most of the time, those are the kids that are, I don't know if it's good to say, but those who are the English language learners ones, right?
Oh, this is
So
for English language learners only? For non for
No,
non
it's actually not. It's for all the kids who have, of course, like all the kids. In freshmen, all the kids are taking it. But if the system sees that, oh, this particular student or kid needs to improve in their reading comprehension, speed and reading comprehension, then they will be in the list that they need to continue it until the next semester if they're sophomores, or until juniors. Because I handle three levels, so I'm not really quite sure if the seniors also do that, but until juniors, if the system detects that this kid needs to improve their star score. So
So
yeah.
this is like, I'm not familiar with this actually because we
Okay.
might have Galileo testing. So is this a benchmark or in preparation for your state testing or just for the record?
Oh, this is for the kids. It is for the kids. I'm not really quite sure, but it's just more of like assessing the level of the reading comprehension of the kids in the class for English.
Okay. Yeah, because it might be the same in our case here. We are using Galileo testing. That's
Oh.
benchmarking. We have four benchmarks. So that's in preparation before their state testing, and you can access all their data, all the data that they have. If they improve reading
Mhm.
comprehension, they have writing skills, and Yeah, I think writing skills and comprehension, and you will see the scores the first time that they took it, second, third, and fourth. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're going to
It's,
have our state testing April 6th. That's the writing
oh.
test for my seventh grade. Then April, I think the following week, 11 and 12, that will be their writing test. So good luck to
Mhm.
me. I mean, it will not, I mean, I'm not sure if it's only in my school or if it's only our district, but whatever the score of the students in our state testing, they are not taking it against us because
Mhm.
they know for sure that the kids, I mean, some of them, they are just taking the test for the sake, of course, that they're going to take the test and they will just answer whatever the
Mhm.
sounds good for them. Yeah. So that's why
Yeah.
one time I asked my students, what's the problem? This passage is your language. Which part you don't understand? This is your language. How come you don't understand the question? Blah blah blah. The question is because they did not read. They are not reading. And
Right.
40 item test, they will finish it for 5 minutes only. So what do you expect?
Right, right. And
Mm-hmm.
there's even just like there's a parent I talked to last time was saying like, I am but wondering why is it that my kid has higher Spanish grade than English? So, but they're locals.
Well,
So it's like,
because
yeah,
they're interested to learn new language.
it's just that they know and they're so confident that it's my language. I don't have to learn about it. I don't have to learn. It's just natural. It's like the same thing with the Filipino language. Like
Yeah, they're
we
very interested to learn our language.
right, exactly.
I am doing that. I am doing that in my advisory class. Like the one time, there's one student who asked me, Ms. Grievous, if you will be given a chance to own a store, what will be the name of your store? Out of nowhere, he just asked me. And I said, oh, that's a good question. Maybe I'm going to name my store Mabuhay Store. I said, what? I said, Mabuhay Store. What does it mean? I said, welcome store. Like, I'm welcoming
Yeah.
you to go. I mean, and I am so very quick to answer that. I mean, that I was also surprised with my answer. And I say, oh yeah, that may be a good name for my store, Mabuhay store. But yeah, they are, and they love our food. The kids here, they love our food, and even the
Oh,
teachers.
I know. I would throw monthly parties in
Oh yeah,
into
really?
my class, just a reward system for them. And I cooked spaghetti, like our Filipino style spaghetti. And I said, like, kids, I'm so sorry. This is not the best spaghetti. This is not my best spaghetti. But don't you know that the next day, one of the kids who like coming back, who would like came back and forth in my class to get like plates of spaghetti, and she said, like, Miss Tora, you're telling me it was not the best, but I dreamed of your spaghetti. So it's just so
Yeah,
funny.
they may find our spaghetti funny because it's sweet, and but yeah, it's different for them.
And
It's
in my case, my spaghetti is just the best seller in the Philippines. I mean, like you know, I had like a small business there, and it's like it's spicy, creamy, and cheesy spaghetti. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and they also love our fried rice.
they love lumpia, and they
They
love
love lumpia,
lumpia. It's
they
your
love
favorite.
pancit.
Yeah.
Lumpia and pancit, they love that. Like I'm telling
Yes.
you, I'm the best lumpia uh cook in my school. I mean, I'm not cooking in the Philippines. There was one time that the secretary asked me to make lumpia because we have like the parent teacher conference, and she emailed me, oh because she asked me, she approached me if I can do that. I mean, you know what, I can do that, but the wrapping, it's just that I cannot handle it because it
Uh-huh.
takes time, and I don't have a wrapper at home because I need to go to Vegas for like an hour and a half.
I
And
do homemade wrapper, and I
well,
make them.
Alan tried that, but
Oh, good.
successful. He tried. But then what happened was the following day she emailed me. Oh, and then she CC'd my principal. Oh, Miss Cuevas, our principal is going to Vegas, so just give him the address of the store and the name of the product, and he will be the one to get it.
And
He,
what's so funny is that people here like crazy about lumpia. Crazy
yeah,
about lumpia. I said like I didn't even like feel that it is really that good. It's because back home every single day we were preparing it for like
yeah,
the employees where it was like working before,
And
and
if
so
you are preparing or giving something to your kids like that, you said you can take pictures, or of course you can ask for. You need to ask permission from. I'm not sure with high school, but with middle school, we need to ask permission from their parents if they're okay to take
yeah,
pictures
yeah.
and everything. So you can actually, or you can take pictures of that and you can send it to your visa sponsor for your annual
Hmm.
report.
I
That
take videos. I take
yeah,
videos.
that you are trying to tell, you are sending or exchange. That's an example
Hmm.
of exchanging your
Exchange,
culture. Yeah,
right?
because
Yeah.
I remember during my summer school last year, I mean, I was asked to do, I mean, I'm an English teacher, and they asked me, okay, Miss Rivas, you do the culinary class. I was like, what? I don't know how to cook. Just do something, just check everything in YouTube. And I said, okay. And I said, maybe I'm going to use this in my report for culture exchange. So I asked them to make the lumpia. They had so much fun in making that, and I how to wrap it. It's so difficult, and even the teachers, the staff, they enjoyed how to do it, and they were like, maybe we're going to do this once a month, that we're going to show them what we can do, and so that everybody will taste it. But the kids love lumpia and they love
Yeah,
pancit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They
but
just love
then
our foods. They just
yeah,
love
they love
our foods, right?
they love
So,
our food, and that's why when we on our first year, our principal asked us to make adobo because he's still throwing a party, and we don't have the silver swan soy sauce, and because
I
we're
have gato puti here.
yeah, that's what they. So we need to have the soy sauce. So just for soy sauce alone, we went to Vegas an hour and a half just to get soy sauce and to cook it for them. There, yeah.
Oh,
So for $3, we have to go there for an hour and a half. But it's fun because you're sharing your culture, and that's the way of getting their trust, and that's the way of making friends to your
mhm.
coworkers as well. Because I mean, they're all busy, but then if it's food, that's actually the best.
They really appreciate like people bringing them food, right?
Yeah,
And that's what the principal in our school was like been telling me that, hey Sheena, I want to show you the culinary building because I am excited to like taste your the food that you'll be
yeah,
cooking. So
yeah. That's right. I told you I'm the best cook of lumpia in my school here.
I'll make sure to prepare one when I get there. Okay.
Yeah. and I I was really embarrassed when my principal went to the Filipino store because my principal is so tall, and I was like, I don't know how he can handle that, but he made it. Yeah, so yeah, and then of course it's your one way of telling them that you are comfortable in conversation with them and sharing good food, sharing people, sharing your experiences. You can always do that to your fellow teachers, and
Right.
mind you, like you can always do that yearly, and do your annual report. And at the same time, when they asked me to do that during summer school, I said, okay, well, that's an extra pay. I mean, I will take that. So I did culinary for 3 weeks. So that's funny. I don't know how handled it, but I made it.
And that's really good here about extra pay. Every like hour that you are working on top of your work hours, it's
Yes.
paid. It's paid.
Yes.
So
You will be asked to join the training. You will be the
you're
one to be paid.
paid.
Yeah. I
And
was
and sorry, and the training you're gonna attend, you don't pay for it. They pay for it. So
They are
yeah.
going to book for your hotel, and if you need to go plane, whatever, they will be the one to sponsor it. And you don't have to prepare anything. Like I remember in the Philippines, if you need the last time I attended a training, I was told I cannot um taxi or Uber or whatever. You really need to do, because you need to make a
Jeepney,
report. You need itemize where the money
you liquidate it.
yeah. Okay, so you need to have a jeepney, payment bus, whatever you need to do in series or whatever. I said, oh my goodness, I can, okay, jeepney. But of course, as a teacher, sometimes if you're in a hurry, what you're doing, okay, taxi. Here, there's no question at all. And what's good about it is the food, it's overwhelming. The serving is like for it's American size. I can't honestly. I
I
can't
can't
finish it.
finish every time. I
I can't.
can't finish.
Can't finish it. I remember my friend before we used to share the food because the serving is too much. That okay, I cannot finish this. So that's why even my department head during our meeting last time they were looking for teachers to do the calendar curriculum like
Mhm.
how many days are you going to spend in this lesson? Like you calendar your curriculum, you will be asked to do that and you will be paid. And so who is going to do that? Well, our class is only Monday to Thursday, right? But they we will be doing it Friday, so that's why you will be paid. I was like, okay. I mean, it's paid, or all right, that's an extra pay. So okay, I'll go. That's for
Who's
today.
to who's to like say no to something that you'll be paid for?
Yeah, I don't
Hello.
know how much are you paying there in Colorado for an hour. Your
Uh,
extra if you do tutoring or whatever.
yeah, we actually usually it's just like ranges from 30 to 35
Okay, yeah.
an
We're
hour. Yeah.
35 hours. I mean 35 per hour here as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So I'm doing after school program. So that after school program I'm doing it 2 hours per day. So it's like $70, but then of course it's still taxable.
And here's another thing. During Wednesdays, I do have Spanish class. It's a program that teachers were interested are learning Spanish. We are being taught. We are being taught by the native speakers. We have teachers from
That's good.
Spain and Colombia. We are learning Spanish language, but we are being paid. How is that?
That's good. How many hours?
Yeah. So that's an hour. And I myself, I am the one teaching the Hispanic community English. So I'm also paid teaching them for
Oh.
another hour. So
So you're
yeah.
teaching Spanish?
Yeah, I'm learning Spanish. And at the same time, after an hour, after that, I also teach the Hispanic English
Oh,
language.
that's
So,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, if you're a teacher, I mean, of course, we as an exchange teacher program, we're doing that. Our SSN is not. I mean, we don't have working permit, so we
yeah. Right,
cannot
right,
do outside job from our district. You cannot apply as a sales lady or whatever or at the restaurant because you will be tracked by your SSN.
right, right.
So what you can do is
Side hassles.
go all. I
I
mean.
babysat last December. Hello.
Yeah. So what you can do is join all those what you call that after school program,
Uh-huh.
those trainings if you have the opportunity. I mean, if I will receive an email, there's training, and then at the bottom, just to catch the teachers, and this is paid. Okay, it's paid. I'm going to join that training.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong.
exactly.
You will just sit down there and then listen. So
All
it's
expense paid, hotel, accommodation, food.
yeah,
Who
that's
doesn't
right. So
who doesn't want that?
correct. That's like an additional, I mean, extra pay, especially if it's your first year of teaching here in the US, you need to
Mhm.
pay all, back home, all your expenses when you went here.
So
And
it's not actually like emphasizing that we've got like not so good process. It's just like if you are somebody who would want to explore, who would want like something that you think you deserve, right? It's a really good opportunity. I mean, it's very taxing. It's very exhausting. Being a teacher here is again challenging yet fulfilling, but you are being compensated by the exhaustion. You are well compensated not only for the pay, but as well as like the experiences and the exposure and all of those opportunities that would make you grow as an individual personally and as professionally. So
less
yeah,
paperwork, less paperwork.
less we have planning time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the only thing that I like here as well is because yeah, every time you do this on like after your school hours, you will be paid. There's no free thing here. So you
Exactly.
will be, but then you have to be mindful as well that even though you're paid, the taxes, hello, it's I mean, if
Yeah.
for you for 2 years you are I think even you're in Colorado, you're not going to pay tax for 2 years. And then
Yeah.
after 3 years,
For the state tax.
yeah, both state and federal tax.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you will be refunded for that if they are deducting you. So you have the option to be deducted or you have the option not to be deducted. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, if you chose to be deducted at the end of the, I mean during after you file your tax, it will be refunded to you all of it.
I just processed it
So
actually.
did you see
Yeah.
your refund? I mean, did they tell you
Yeah.
how much the
Yeah.
refund?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
going to give you the refund, and then of course it's like a savings.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
Exactly.
because at first on my first year we opted not to be deducted, so we don't have tax. But then there was one of our teachers that she opted to be deducted, and at the end of the school year or during the when we filed the tax, she
It's a
got
celebration.
$10,000. I was like, what? ten
It's
thousand
a
dollars
celebration, right?
I know. So we did that. We followed her, and then yeah. So for the second year, but then of course you may think $10,000. You're going to convert it in the Philippines. You may think it's big, but it's like
In
I said.
here.
If it's for first year, you have things that you need to tend in the Philippines. So still, it's okay. But it's like your reward that at the end of the school year you have something. You have
Right, right.
something, and time for yourself to be rewarded because I mean, time here is so fast. You
Mm-hmm.
just woke up at 5 o'clock, and then you will not see. I mean, that you will be surprised it's 4 o'clock already, and
Right.
at the end of the day, you will go home tired,
Always. If
tired.
you, I mean, like I always tell this to my friends, Filipino friends, that people or teachers, Filipino teachers who are here are the ones who are giving their best, right? Because you can never be qualified if you are just a slacker teacher,
Yeah,
which means these teachers would go home every single day exhausted, burned out,
yes,
because we give our best.
yeah,
We are
and
just so passionate about what we're doing. And so yeah, we deserve it. We deserve it.
because your principal and assistant principal is roaming around all the time. And then I remember one time on my first year I was so tired, and I am asking my students to read. I mean, we're reading a chapter, and then I was so tired already roaming around, and there was one student who was absent, and tried to sit down on his chair all the way at the back, and I was sitting down there as well because they know already, like I do popcorn reading sometimes, and they know after you're next, blah, blah, blah. And then I was here at the
Uh-huh.
back listening. My principal opened the door. He was looking. I don't know
Couldn't find the
who's
teacher.
he's looking for me because he said, "You look like a student there," because of course my students are higher. I mean, taller than me,
Dollar.
and I was so embarrassed that my principal caught me sitting there and like while the kids are reading. But then he did not reprimand me or whatsoever. But it's just that it's so embarrassing that your principal saw you sitting down there, and that was the first and last time that they saw me sitting down there. I said, I will not do it again. Yeah. And yeah, my students, even though they're seventh graders, most of my students are taller than me. And it's funny because when they go to eighth grade, they will really come back and say, "Oh, you know what? I during over the summer, I grew like 3 inches tall, so I'm really taller than you." But
Yeah, right.
will see that your student will still remember you, and they will really have to go back and visit you because you made a difference to them. So yeah, and also the only I realize, because I love basketball, so I always support uh team sports. I mean, you have to this is also one way of getting the trust of your
Right,
student.
right.
If you are watching their games, especially if they are athletes and you are supporting them, because that's their time to be acknowledged that they're doing something. And then if the following day if they win, oh, congratulations,
Correct.
because acknowledge them, and they know that you are there every time there's a game. They will ask you, are you going to join, are you going to watch the game today? And
Mm-hmm.
they will really like you the moment they
Right,
know that you are
right.
very supportive to them, because
Agree.
not all the parents can join and watch their games. But if they knew that you're the teacher, you are there for them and they see you cheering for them, they will say, "Oh, I can rely on this teacher."
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why most of the basketball players, yeah, and they're really, really tall. And then I will always defend myself. You know what? My height to where it came from, this is just my regular height. This is a
It's the
regular height.
average, it's the
Yeah.
normal height.
I'm not tall. I'm not short as well. So please stop bullying me. So, but then you get the trust of your kid, so you can say, "Stop bullying me," even though they're just picking on you. And that's the time that your seventh grader will realize, oh, she's good with the eighth grader. It means I can do that to her as
Mm,
well because she is comfortable with the student. And yeah, that's also your one way. Even though like 6 o'clock in the evening, I have to go home, or 7 p.m. because I have to
mm.
watch their game. It's okay. And then I mean, I really love basketball. They really see me how I cheer, and I mean, I really cheer. Oh, okay. So yeah, we saw you cheering over there, and then yeah. So they will witness that you are there for them. That's your way as well of
Right,
getting
right.
their attention. And
Exactly.
so, but for sure in high school they're doing that. The high school kids,
Yes, I have watched the first ever game that I watched is the football, and I never had any idea what football
I don't
was before.
understand that as
And
well.
it's like a lot of my kids are in that game, and it was like one of the players is a kid in my class, and it's like he's the one who's like being mentioned by the commentator, and the next I would say, hey, like you did really great there in the field, but of course he couldn't see me because like the field is
Yeah,
really big, and it's like really, Miss Story, you watch my game, yeah, and like this, the commentator would say like this guy, this kid, like this and like that. And I was like, they're like so amazing, like you doing that for them. And it's the same thing as well when I watched the first basketball game. I had like kids in my class, and I said like I told to the kid because he actually fell for several times during basketball game. I said like you made me nervous for so many times, kid, and I don't want to watch you again if you're gonna do that because it's like somehow a little aggressive in the court. And there's another one who's like you were the ones who did the first 3 points in the court.
yeah,
It feels so good. Oh, really, Miss Tori? Yeah, I know. The two first 3 point shots were from you, right? So I said like,
mhm,
oh, my teacher was like
yeah. It
watching the
will
game
it will
and
market to them.
and telling it in the entire class of like how you feel about what you watch and that you are proud of them. It boosts their esteem. It boosts their confidence, and they would really
Because they
appreciate
need
you.
attention.
Right,
And that
right.
way they think, "Oh, I get your attention. You were there to support me." Yeah,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
that's
That's what they need. That's
yeah,
what we need. That's what
yes.
people need. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, and then the following day, they're tired, they're sleepy, but you have to understand them as well. But sometimes that's their motivation as well because they cannot play if they're failing.
Right. Right.
I was even asked to do like the scoreboard when I was watching the basketball game.
Oh,
I
what
said,
an
I don't know how to
experience.
do that. But then my department head asked me, "Oh, this is how you do this," because and in the gym there's like the scoreboard automatically if
Yes.
if
Yes.
they made a shot. And then later on, every day they're asking me, "Okay, Miss Grievous can do it." Miss Grievous, like
That's a good experience.
it was my second year, I believe, that I was there every day in the gym to do the scoreboard. But then, I mean, I'm okay because I'm watching the game anyway, and they know for sure that I mean, I don't have anything to do as well after school. So, okay, I will do that. Yeah,
Nice.
so there's so much to share. There's so much story to tell. Sheena is just on her six months,
Yeah.
seven
Yeah.
months.
6 months,
But
seventh month,
yeah, but
27
she has
months.
so much to tell as well. And for sure, you guys, you have a lot of things to share as well when you get here. And when you get here, let me know so we can share your
Let us
amazing
know. Let
story,
us know.
your amazing
Right.
story as well, and so that we can share it to our viewers as well. There might be a little viewers right now, but then they will some because of course the following day it's Monday. So what they're doing is they are going to replay it, and
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have any more question, then maybe we're going to end here so we
Mm-hmm.
can you can prepare for tomorrow and we can go on our lives here as well. Thank you so much, Sheena, for sharing your
My
stories.
pleasure. Thank you for having me in your channel. And thank you so much to all those wonderful questions you guys have there.
Yeah, we
So
have viewers from Ghana, from
yeah,
Africa, from Singapore, from Thailand. It's everywhere. So thank you so
right.
much, and I hope you all guys will be here already for this school year. There's teacher shortage, so we're hopeful that you can be here with us as well. Let's get all those dollars. Let's get all those
Exactly.
money.
Bullseye there, Teacher
Yeah, let's
Annie.
get all those money. Every time there's this student being disruptive and pushing your buttons and trigger you, just remember on
Keep
top
your
of the head,
cool.
there's dollar.
Dollar
There's
sign,
dollar.
right?
The
Keep
dollar
your
sign.
cool. Dollar sign is there.
That's
Halo. Dollar
that's my
sign.
motivation a long time
Right.
ago. Like every time, like, oh, okay, but just inhale and exhale. It's just a kid, and at the end of the day, she's just okay.
Mhm.
Bye. I hope you have a good day. See you tomorrow. As if there's nothing happened.
Right. Right.
All right. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for your time. And from Sir Dyrell, learned a lot. Thank you so much, teachers. And thank you
Our
also, well,
pleasure.
sir, for sharing your time and be with us. Please, if you forgot, don't forget to share this video, like and share so that other teachers can experience, or just maybe just listening to us, you are like here in the US as well, and so that you are prepared, well prepared when you get here. Because the only thing that you have to be prepared is, like what Sheena said, the one that you need to pack is be initiative.
Initiative. Yeah.
Yeah, initiative.
Initiative.
And getting experience, sharing listening to the experience of the teachers, because there's no person that can tell you what will happen but the teachers that are here. So we're not coding it, we're not we're just saying the fact. So it's up to you if you will follow or if you will believe us. So it's up to you, but then you may have your own experience, and you will, who knows, we might listen to your experience as well next time. So thank you
Right.
so much for your time, and I hope, yes, you learned a lot from this video, or from this live. And thank you for your time, guys. Have a good
Have a
night.
good night, everybody.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Nashina. Bye.
Yeah.
See you soon.
See you.